As the season's worn on, have you gotten more confidence, and do you think you're more handsome than Tom Brady?
Oh, my God. I don't think I've ever been asked that question from another man, but I don't know. I'll let you guys discuss that and figure that out.
David. Football David. The Dave Dameshek Football Program. Available on iTunes and at davedameshek.nfl.com. Now here's your host, Dave Dameshek.
Bad news, Jimmy. This reporter still has Tom Brady at the top of the handsome quarterback polls. Yes.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's right. Sorry, handsome Jimmy G. You're a handsome devil. Hi and hello. And welcome to the Dave Dameshek Football Program. We got a lot of good stuff ready to roll for you here in Studio 66. You just heard his voice. Let's say hello to him right now, shall we?
Hello.
He is one half of the finest radio program in all the land. They just wrapped up a fine Dodger season that ended one game short of a world championship. Muzzle tov to all those Astros fans down there. It's nice. I love it when a city that needs a distraction is given a distraction by its one of its local sports collectives. So muzzle tov to everyone in Houston, Texas. And like I say, though, one half of the best radio show around, Petros and Money. He's also the radio voice of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's on Fantasy Live.
Bye week.
Oh, it's your bye week.
8 weeks in, we get it right in the middle of the season, and I got to tell you, I needed it. Not like the players don't need it. They've been getting their heads crushed in here for 8 weeks now, but yes, I desperately, and I brought this up to some people with the Chargers. I said, how did you allow the league to schedule you in the same season, the AFC and the NFC East? You guys got to make 5 trips to the East Coast, and we know that really does wear on teams. East to West is no big deal, but West to East, when your call time for breakfast is 5 a.m. West Coast time, and they got to do that 4 times this season, that's just crazy that they allowed that to line up this way.
You see this? Does that everybody, I mean, doesn't everybody feel heartbroken for poor Matt Money?
Oh, I'm just
poor Money.
Don't feel bad for me.
Poor Money.
I'm saying they got dealt a
hey,
tough hand.
Right now, worker, as you're picking up,
don't you dare do that to
your
me.
big heavy box that you have to move before you have to put it down, and then pick up another heavy box and move that one. Let's stop.
In a league where you hope for competitive balance, it does seem a bit odd that they would allow the AFC West to play both the AFC and NFC.
By the way, he went off on that tangent, but of course the guy we're talking to and about is Matt Money Smith. That's enough. He already got in the way. He's the one who truncated his intro music. Also, he's one half of the fine new podcast here at NFL Media. It's called Game Theory and Money. I prefer to call it Free Money. That was the catchier name.
I agree.
She is Marianne's favorite child.
Yes,
you see her on
Hi, Mom.
Game day morning, Thursday night football, this, that, and the other. It's Cindy Freeland, everybody. Enough.
We got business to get to.
Yeah, we got a lot to kibitz about here. I'm with you. I was just talking with my man. I go every week on WDVE, the legendary rock station in Pittsburgh, PA, 102.5 DVE. Randy Bauman and Bill Crawford, and we were kibitzing this week. You can check that out every Friday if you're so inclined. We were talking about fans maybe deserve a bye week. Use your team's bye week as an excuse to go on a vacation. Randy Bauman was telling me he's going to New Orleans this week.
See?
I think that's a keen idea.
Look at that.
What are you going to do to celebrate your bye week,
As I told Cynthia, I'm going to rest my voice. I'm actually going to rest my voice and just try to be silent through the course of, how it is.
It's so precious, Money.
Yeah.
Who knew money was so precious here? He's
Youth
going to
sports.
drink his tea.
I am going to drink hot water with lemon. I'm going to name drop here the old Chick Hearn secret. That I was informed that Chick never did caffeine in his hot liquids. It was always just straight water, a little bit of lemon. Man never missed a game.
I've heard the caffeine is a bad move.
Yeah, not good for the voice. So that's what I'll probably do. I'll be quiet at the kids' youth sports events this weekend. No cheering from Dad. I'll just be, golf claps. A little bit of that.
I'm kind of glad. I think sometimes the overbearing dads are scary.
Maybe you could throw some of that hot water in the direction of a foe.
I like it.
I don't want you to scald any
I would say
teenage kid, but
in the
maybe
world
just
of,
to slip on.
In the world of volleyball, and the hardwood floor, I guess all I need is a couple drips.
That's it.
Get the kid to slip out from underneath.
What happened?
Oh,
yeah.
You got there, huh?
Cindy, it's been a momentous week here. First of all, I discovered late on Sunday night I was feeling good. The Pittsburgh Steelers had emerged victorious against your Detroit Lions.
On pace. Shaq's prediction.
Then I look and I see Vontez Burfict blocked Dave Dameshek on Twitter. Blocked me. Why did Vontez block me?
Does
I wonder why.
Block you?
What's that?
Does Roethlisberger block you? He blocks everybody.
No, he doesn't block me. Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I am not blocked by Roethlisberger.
There's a lot of people in media who are blocked by Roethlisberger. I take it as a
not this fella. No, because Seven knows who's got his back. Against Vontez Burfict. Vontez Burfict. All right. The lines are drawn, and guess what? Right back at you, Vontez. Because guess who's blocked now? You.
Had he followed you before?
No, he never followed me.
Well, there you go.
Didn't follow me, but he didn't block me either. Vontez.
You humiliated him 2 weeks ago. You played that call and you cackled behind it as they were celebrating that fumble and
Honey,
what?
He embarrassed himself. I merely reported on it.
Football players have feelings too, Dave.
Well, then,
okay.
Yeah, that's
you heard his feel beds. Have I ever? I rarely block anyone, but on occasion, people that are just
no. But are you blocked by anyone?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Anyone like that?
No, nobody
about?
famous. I'm not big time like Dave Dameshek.
I love Vontez.
Bengals blocking him.
Can I tell you? I've always found, because I'm a liberal blocker of people who say stupid things. If they say offensive things, if they if it's too far, I'll block you. And I'm amused by the fact that then their friends will jump in on it, and you can look at the chain if they notify, hey, yo, dude, check it out. Dameshek blocked me. And it seems like a badge of honor, and I've always thought it very odd. Like, what? This is an achievement to get blocked on Twitter by somebody, let alone Schnook Dave. This is a big moment.
Surrendering. They look at it as he surrendered in this fight.
I don't like it. I always have thought, what a weird thing. I can't jive you, though. There was a bit of satisfaction.
You're really happy about it.
Damn right there was. Blocked by Vontez Burfict.
Can we get Ryan Mallett to block me? I would be really happy about that.
I bet
Why?
you can arrange that.
I don't like Ryan Mallett. So that's my only one person in the NFL that I will go.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't like him.
Why?
I hope he blocks me.
Because why? You can't just say that and then let it sit there and have us guess as to why. Why are you have this axe to grind with Mallett?
It's a really random person, I realize. I didn't like him at Michigan. Didn't like him at Arkansas, because that's what you have to say when you're being mean to him. But I like Arkansas in general, but not when he's there. I'm not a big Ryan Mallett fan. I think he's...
I don't think you're going to get out of her, Shaq.
I think you're going to get it out of her. I think he's not like my favorite person in the league. I'd like him to block me on Twitter. I would feel as though that were a badge of honor.
All right, you know what I'm going to do? Let's find... In fact... But a spaghetti behind the glass. Here's your assignment for the next, 45 or so minutes here. See if you can send a tweet to Ryan Mallett.
I'll tell you what my assignment is. Celebrating the Knicks now that Jackson's out of town. How good does Porzingis look, Dave?
The Knickerbockers are back, baby. Hey, spaghetti. While you do that and you revel in Derek Jeter and Bernie King and the rest of them, see if you can contact Ryan Mallett on Twitter and let him know Cindy Freeland would consider it a personal favor if he would.
Is he even on
her.
Twitter? That's what I'm looking at. Right?
Not on Twitter.
All right, we're gonna figure this out.
Sorry to let you down. Maybe he'll block you on the chat snap there, huh?
I don't know about that. I don't use that one.
All right.
Yep,
I will say, go back and listen to yet another Gangbusters early week episode of the Dave Dameshek football program. Maurice Jones-Drew, Colleen Wolfe, and Ike Taylor swell as always, individually and collectively. Ike did a good little breakdown of whether or not the Steelers' defense got a little exposed by Matt Stafford because in spite of their inability to punch it in,
sort of their 0% red zone touchdown.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because Matt Stafford is as bemusing a case at quarterback as we have, and you in the offseason, you brought this up, Cindy, and it continues to be true that you could make a case Stafford is maybe at this point as good as Ben Roethlisberger at minimum.
Maybe. Whoa.
But boy, he was.
What?
Wait. Did you see some of the?
Maybe as good as Ben Roethlisberger at this point. This year.
Yeah.
What?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say
you
he definitely is.
You still think that this year, not in the entirety of, I understand rings make a difference. I'm talking about just the confines of 2017. You will stand by Roethlisberger over Stafford.
It's not. See, what you want me to do is defend. You're trying to corner me into defending 7. Instead, I throw it back at you. Go ahead and defend 9 and the entirety of his performance. What he does is he makes some throws that make you swoon.
Who's Lev Bell in Detroit? There is none. They don't have a run game.
All right, now we're getting sidetracked. I just was trying to compliment you on your off-season little analysis that I
won't take it. I won't have it. No, I'm
You
curious.
made a case that Stafford is a little underappreciated.
He is underappreciated.
Right. I mean, there are very few human beings, including Tom Brady, that can make some of the throws he made on Sunday.
And he's been sacked the second most times in the NFL. He's got his O-line's not helping him out. It could get better this week.
The Big Ben throw to Schuster was ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
The one that went for 97 yards. I get that Juju is trying to rub it in the face of scouts and fantasy folks, but fine Juju, great. That was all Roethlisberger. That thing was right in stride. He did not have to.
I'm not saying Roethlisberger.
Not only did he not break stride, he didn't even flinch. And had he had to do that, if he had to, he would have been caught.
Well, the other thing is, too, the thing that those two guys, Stafford and Roethlisberger, have in common, they're playing a different game than the one that Tom Brady is playing. Tom Brady and even Alex Smith, these guys are – there are some QBs that are always pushing it, to the detriment of their team perhaps, but they're always you can't really compare completion percentages and such when half the guys are pushing the ball constantly and Tom Brady is checking down.
I'll say this though about Tom Brady,
not to say that he's not. I mean,
no, it was all checkdowns against the Chargers the entire game, but when you, and I'm not saying it's different when you're at the stadium, it's probably better to watch it on film, but just in that moment, having been there and watching him and knowing what that pass rush has been through 7 games and the fact that Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa were in the backfield the whole time, it is just remarkable to watch that guy move no more than 2 feet one way, 6 inches another.
Completely agree with you.
And elude a pass rush that has wrecked every other quarterback up to that point. And, yeah, they sacked him 3 times, but he would just barely move inside the pocket, escape, duck every now and then under the swinging arm of Chris McCain, and complete this 8-yard pass to a check down that would go for 25.
It's exactly right. We rightly swoon over Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger. Not really 2017 Roethlisberger, but Ben
Roethlisberger is great.
His legendary ability to have guys bounce off of him and move out of the pocket and make some crazy play. But Tom Brady, you're exactly right. I've grown to really appreciate what he does, and what I've seen, my untrained eye sees, is that he constantly is aware of where there is literal space in the pocket. He jumps into it as soon as he sees it, thereby changing the angle of the pass rusher. They're charging one way, and now he's changed the argument by jumping 2 feet ahead. Now that guy's angle is no longer of any value. He's going to overshoot.
You know what it is?
Well, he's great.
You know what everybody always says? Oh, it's the queen on the chessboard. You know what Brady is? He's the king. Just one spot.
That's
every
so true.
single
I like that.
direction. Just a spot up. Now I got to go back here with the bishop. Nope. Now I'm back up. Now I got him with the rook. Nope. Just up one. And that's what it is. It's just dink, dink. And I mean, he's holding the ball in the pocket a little bit longer because he can. Because it doesn't affect him. When everything is flying around him, it does not affect him one bit. It really is something.
It's true, right. He's right. It's remarkable. If you watch that, you will see that he is not reacting to the pass rush. That's not his skill.
Right.
He eliminates the pass rush by just moving constantly instead of being a static target for the would-be pass. Your Chargers, though, man, oh man. I picked them to win that game. They absolutely could have won the game. And here's the thing. It's not ghosts and stuff. It is I don't care what professional athletes want to claim. Oh, we don't care. It's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. We don't think about that. We're not intimidated by our foe or anything. Well, then why then does Phil Rivers fumble the ball in a situation he would never fumble it out?
Just comes out of his hand.
Travis Benjamin trying to do more than he should on a punt return. That never would happen.
Ridiculous. And you know what? That was what did that man. It was special teams. It was.
Well, it's also, I will also say, though, that first series of the game, Anthony Lynn not going for. Why did he try to kick on a 50-something yard field goal?
51-yard field goal. And I'll say in Anthony's defense, I was also watching Nick Novak warm up from that exact spot, and he was drilling him.
Oh, yeah?
And it was a bad hold. It was a bad hold by Kaiser. If you watch it, the turf is wet, and you have to factor that in when you're going to go for a 51-yard field goal that maybe you're not going to get a clean grab on that snap, but the hold wasn't good. That said, I would have probably gone for it.
You go for it there.
And,
by the way, I like that he calls him Anthony.
Did I?
He doesn't.
I didn't say Coach. What I said, Anthony.
He didn't say Coach Lynn.
Oh, that's not
he
good.
Didn't say Anthony Lynn.
Oofa.
Hey, my pal Tony and I were talking about it before the game. I said, go ahead and have Nikki kick the ball. Nikki's making it all day.
It's the bye week.
Boy, that's
you can be
good.
casual on the bye week, and we go back to business next week. It's the bye week. You get a bye week.
I agree with Coach.
You get a bye week.
Shame on me. That was
bye week.
It is, by the way, the worst special teams play I've ever seen. You know what? Second worst special teams play I've ever seen.
What, the Travis Benjamin return?
Are the
the
Patriots known for special teams prowess? Is that maybe part of their reputation that there are no better special teams in the league than the New England Patriots, and you're Travis Benjamin and you decide on the 7 after muffing a pump that you are going to turn your back to Matthew Slater, James Devlin and company, and just assume that as you make that looping 10-yard left turn, you're going to be wide open and take – no, that's just push the ball out of bounds.
This is what being a dominant team for 15 years is. You get to take up headspace with the other 31 teams in the league, and that is what you see. Teams go in under the premise that, well, we want to win this game. We cannot make a mistake, and if you start playing with that mentality, then you start making mistakes. We have to be flawless, perfect. It changes your decision making.
And just look at what they did on the offsides on the kickoff, right? So there's an offsides on the kickoff. It ends up, I think, returned to like the 23. They can take the 5-yard penalty, start the drive at the 28. Pretty good deal. What do they say? No, back them up. We know Nick Novak is kicking into the wind. It's not as strong of a leg. They start the drive at the Chargers 35 after accepting that. It is what I'm telling you. This is what happens.
Patriots. Teams must get over that fear of their foe across. They look across. It's Belichick. We have to do something special. No. Take Belichick's advice. Just do your job. That's all. That's all you have to do.
Pretty simple.
All right. Hey, I want to talk about a couple things before we get into our game picks here, the Red Challenge flag picks, and hopefully one handsome Hank back from London, England, after spreading the good word of pro football to the international set. I wanted to talk about something else here. Hopefully Handsome will join us, but something was floated to me. It's something we've kibitzed about over the years. What calendar year has the best movies of all time in it? Whoa! Just as we say it, here he comes.
I would like to file. It's not an official protest. I'll just say it may be a bit of an issue with this topic. I do believe this could be a DDFP summer show series, like a 6-part series. What you are about to, just scratch a surface on, and I don't know how long, but I get a sense that Emma eye rolls are going to be at an all-time high because we can do this for the next 6 hours. I would assume. What you're about to get into is
Emma VP. So before we initiate this segment, your official position is it's a bad idea?
No, I think we should do it, but we should, got to keep it condensed or put some parameters on it so that we can keep it going.
There's the qualifier.
Go ahead, make the parameters, referee.
Maybe just do a few of the years that we have picked
out.
Right
now we have
like
6
nominees. Maybe we do 3 or 2.
Okay, maybe we'll do that. First things first, let's say hello to him all the way back, as I just mentioned, from England, his homeland, his adopted homeland, the U.S. of A., home to the National Football League, his beloved first sport, eschewing the requirement. My assumption that you were required to love soccer, number one. No, he is our resident Miami Dolphins fan. It's Handsome Hank.
Enough.
Don't Dave, you don't. I don't know who you think you
are.
Hank.
Dave,
you don't end your own music.
Dave, you know what?
What?
It's fun because you just pointed out I was in London for a long period of time, and that what used to be my home.
Much longer than I expected.
Much longer than I expected. I'm back in Los Angeles, but you know where my real home is?
I miss my mom.
Studio 66. This is my real home.
That hurts my feelings, Henry. We had such a grand time having you back in your own bedroom.
It's great to be back. Aren't you happy?
Which is untouched. We've not touched it since Henry walked out that door at age 17 to go to university and beyond.
Emma, is it okay if you just cut this bit out and I just leave again?
No, handsome. We don't want that. How are you? How are your travels?
They were good, thank you, Dave.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Enjoyable stuff?
Enjoyable
People
stuff.
still gaga about our game of gridiron?
People loved the game of gridiron. They had a wonderful time at the
Gridiron.
games.
I'm going to ask a polarizing question.
Go for
Hank,
it,
and I did it last year, and I'm going to ask it again because I still contend when it comes to Europe, and maybe you're just a victim of the other cultures, the food in England. You know?
Come on, money.
No, I'm being serious to some degree. When you're there, it's one thing to be in a town for 2 or 3 nights. And you're
This is the old knock on England. Is it still true in 2017 that they don't have?
That's what I'm getting. When you're there for 2 weeks, okay?
Right.
We've been through this.
Yeah.
When you're there for 2 weeks, do you really feel the same? That, hey, you know what? I'm happy I'm here because I like eating this food.
London is as cosmopolitan a city as any other place in the world, and you can get any food you want, and it's of the same quality that you'd find in the greatest food cities in the world.
But if we're here,
but if you're going to,
we're going to get good cheeseburgers, right? We know when we're in America, hey, I'm going to get me a couple cheese. When we're in Italy, we think about the Italian food. When we go to London, what are we like? Hey, I'm here for 2 weeks. I'm going to get blank. I'm going to get blank, and this is going to be great.
You would make the mistake then of eating like the local food, and that's a very American thing. And I don't mean this disparagingly, but that's a very American.
But it came out that way.
Hey, I'm going to name this country, and therefore I'm going to.
I want to eat the local fare.
Whereas in London, you could just eat great food from every different country.
But that's a very American thing. America, I always say, the best thing about its restaurants is we're the second best at every kind of food. And in some cases, number one, from what I understand.
You reinvented.
I understand if you go to China and eat Chinese food, you will not find it.
It is nothing like what we're used to here.
Exactly.
Right. You go to Italy and eat pizza, it is not like American pizza.
But not like it, yes.
You know what? I like American pizza better than I like Italian pizza.
What Israel is to upgrading military equipment, we are to food. That is
handsome. That's
all right,
a continental conversation for us to engage in. But you think Italian pizza is better than American pizza?
Yes.
Really? It's like, but they don't cook the bread as much. The dough is more like just like a regular piece of bread with the stuff on it.
It's not sauce. No, it's the sauce that you get in Italy.
Yeah, right.
You can't.
The red sauce.
Yeah, the red sauce you can't touch it.
Is 100 times better because they'll simmer that for a couple of months until
it's the sauce.
Sweet as it can be.
All right, handsome. You know what? I was about to do the movie business here, but to stick with sports here. No, I want to
stick with sports, Dave. That's your thing.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
I just all right. Yeah,
no.
The game of life is my thing,
I know,
handsome.
I know.
Here's my question for you, though. We just saw the Dodgers lose, and there are many people milling about these days that are a little down in the dumps about that, while Astros fans rejoice. But this isn't so much about like the heartbreak of watching the game and I wish they would have gotten over the hump. What decision, I don't mean result, what decision has made you most cross with your favorite team? In this case, it would be the Miami Dolphins.
I think I know where you're going here because this week, London-born running back Jay Ajayi was traded.
You almost said cut. He essentially was cut.
He was essentially cut given what they got back for him, which was a surprising move given at the start of the season. I think you'd say he was the centerpiece of their offense. And so I think what you're saying is he's British, they're the Miami Dolphins, this has hurt my feelings. You know what?
Can I tell you something? It was not me who thread that needle. It was one Eddie Spaghetti behind the glass. Perhaps looking to take the heat off of Matt Smith's senseless and ever-increasingly frequent attacks.
I
you know what, handsome?
I don't feel like this is Handsome Hank, by the way. I feel like this is Frank Bruno in here. He's counterpunching. Hank is counterpunching today.
Handsome, I feel bad if you've been listening while you are in London,
England. Every time I'm like, I wish I was there so I could help.
Me too.
And then Mark Sessler, who Money said I was on the big screen, and suddenly Mark Sessler got it. What's up with Money? Why has he become so aggressive?
I think he's feeling it. He's a human being.
Well, Dave, you know what?
I'm right here, by the way.
I listen to Tuesday's show.
Here.
I'm one of the biggest listeners to the DDFP as well as an occasional contributor. And one of the questions that you were asked in the excellent Q&A session was, why are people mean to each other?
It's a great
and I
question.
think the question, the response that came back from Maurice, a very wise man, is that some people feel a way about themselves and therefore they project it on other people. And that I think that to me suddenly the light bulb went click.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what
that kind of
money.
describes
Again, I'm right here, guys.
our colleague.
I am right here.
Oh, hi, Money.
I just want to say again,
This is a mischaracterization by this man.
to the listeners.
He is
to
projecting.
The listener, I feel bad because I sit here and my name is on the show,
Right.
and so it represents me. Money's ugliness.
You're not a
somehow.
You're not a mean spirit.
That's not my thing.
Oh,
I'm a
no.
man of peace.
Right, but
under
sometimes
my
the tone
watch-
of the show goes a little the other way,
And it's like,
into the
well,
darker areas.
It's a good get for us, Matt
Right.
Money Smith.
Sure.
I don't
Well,
wanna
he
be like,
was
hey,
the
originally
needle.
when you got him, yes, but when the dark side of him comes out,
I
maybe
don't know
that's
that
what
I
we're
like
looking
the-
for.
just
I mean, it's
feel
all like
I'm right here.
handsome.
And,
It's like why are you going after Eddie Spaghetti? He's a nice kid from New York. So
Have
what?
you-
And all this like, oh, who else a nice kid is Derek
that's not-
Jeter winning all those rings? You know, it's like,
That's-
why are you
that's not
doing
good.
that, Money? Why? What's
Oh,
even
me,
the point of that?
me, Browns.
I'll tell you who's
That's
not a
not
nice
fair.
kid. Natelekina. We should have had Dennis Smith Jr. That's what I say.
Have you thought about
Did you
taking
see what he
Money
just did
aside?
on the other side of the glass, by the way? You know, that's a pretty good point he's got right there.
Money, can I talk to you about something?
Yeah, have you thought about
I
taking
am
him
right
aside?
here.
People,
Yeah.
handsome Hank has 3 little kids. Eddie Spaghetti has a
We
family.
listened to this podcast in the car on the way to school.
Is
How
that-
am I
is that
supposed to
right?
explain
Is that
that?
right?
How am I supposed to explain what's going on to them?
What kind of role model are you being, Money? I mean,
I will
Think
not
about it.
dignify that question with a response because it would indicate as though I have contributed some sort of negative behavior to this podcast.
now,
Dave,
Spaghetti.
pronounce
To
it.
the matter at hand, he brought this up. Spider Spaghetti said, "Why don't you guys address this? Is that the most? I find it
that's
hard
not
to
the
imagine some of the coaching decisions and otherwise. Take it away.
The decision, it wasn't in real time, but on reflection, was Don Shula wasting Dan Marino's entire career by drafting bums to play defense. for
Whoa,
the
I like
Miami
that.
Dolphins
Bums.
through the last decade of his coaching career. John Bosa, Eric Kumaro. There was a guy named Eddie Green, I think. Like bad running back, Sammy Smith, Troy Stratford. Like over and over again, he wasted a bunch of draft picks on Dan Marino was trying to win games with himself and Farrell Edmonds and John Offerdale.
Well, that's a hard one to beat, and
And
on
Don
point.
Shula, it's kind of mean to say things about Don Shula because he's obviously one of the best coaches of all time. But towards the end, last decade of his career, he drafted appallingly.
Well, fair's fair, and you're right on. Cindy Freeland, you're next. Which team? The Tigers at least have gotten you a title in your lifetime.
I don't really remember it, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Technically it happened.
All right, so go take
Not
it
everyone's
away.
your age,
Is it
Dave.
Lions? Yeah, you're right. I forgot about
I
it.
remember it well.
Yeah, the
84,
Lions.
man.
I remember the '84
Because it
Tigers.
should- and that was
I
kind
was
of the,
technically alive. I don't remember it.
That was the consolation prize. It's like, yeah, even if the Cubs made the World Series, they would have gotten housed by the Tigers.
Do you
There was
think
just-
so?
I think so. That team was so good. That freaking Tiger team was so good.
Yeah, I could. But if the Cubs had gotten over the hump, I think they certainly.
They ride that wave with old Leon Durham
that-
and Bob
that was a
Demire and
legit
Keith
team.
Moreland and Gary Matthews and Boa and Say. I mean, you had Sutcliffe. You didn't have a whole lot behind him, but Lee Smith was closing games. So, yeah, maybe.
Do I have to pick just one? Because if I did say, and this is very mean because I used to work with this man, he's a very nice man, but I think the Lions and Matt Millen was probably the worst decision. And so I say him because that kind of encapsulates.
A lot of high picks that did not bear fruit.
encapsulates some wide receivers that just nobody remembers because they didn't do anything. Because they didn't last. They were busy.
Money. You know what? You're going to say I don't really have a rooting allegiance anymore.
No, I got one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I bet I know what it is.
What is it?
I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
I'm just gonna write it down.
Okay, this is great, Pod.
It's just I'm gonna tell you what it's about. It has to do with that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
writing.
Go
things,
ahead.
You writing
Go ahead,
things is
Money.
really good for our audience.
You think I'm going to say it's not giving Walter Payton the ball in Super Bowl 20? And
No, I didn't.
Fridge
No,
instead.
it doesn't have to do with. That's a good.
Because that one affected me as a child.
That's
Like,
a great one.
I was very
Sure.
upset.
It affected you
when
as a
I
child.
was
I
10
love
years
it.
old, and I was, like, distraught. I'm wearing my little, Walter Payton Hutch football uniform.
You have the helmet as
cute.
well.
Yeah, and everybody's
Oh, no,
laughing.
that's
Oh,
so
isn't that
cute.
funny? Hey, isn't that funny? They gave the ball to the fridge there to get the touchdown. And I'm, at 10 years old, recognizing
not
the
funny.
impact of that. I'm like, That's not funny. That's not cool at all, as a matter of fact. They should have given it to Walt. So that was that one hurt me a little bit. But
now he's making fun of himself.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's gone all the way.
I can self-deprecate as well.
Maybe this is part of the internal conflict.
But I'm going to say it's the waste of the most dominant defense of the aughts. With Rex Grossman and Kyle Orton and the lack of a quarter. What did I forget? What do you got?
I thought you were going to go with the Blackhawks and
Bill Wirtz?
why you turned your back on them for the broadcast.
Would you like
stuff.
me to share that? I can't.
Yeah, I know that's why you.
I wrote a letter I wrote a strongly worded letter to Bill Wirtz when he was the owner of the Blackhawks, letting him know that unless he were to sell the team or die, I would no longer root for the team because they put them on what was called Hawk Vision. They made Blackhawks games pay-per-view. And as a man who grew up in the lower to middle class of Chicago society, we could not afford Hawk Vision, and I could not get my Dennis Savard. And that really angered me as a young man. But that letter actually came when I was a little bit older. It was when they traded Roenick. And that was the last straw for me. I was like, that's it. I'm absolutely Alexei Zhamnov. That's who I'm supposed to. Well, you kidding me? You cheap SOB. You're gonna trade Roenick here? So yeah, there you go.
Did you get a standardized reply? Thank you for your interest in the Blackhawks.
Nothing. Got nothing. But you know what? It actually led to my becoming a big Los Angeles Kings fan once I moved here. I loved hockey. Went to the Forum. Really appreciated those teams before they made the move over to Staples Center, and then enjoyed a couple cup runs. So it worked out okay in the end.
I will go with the Pittsburgh Pirates circa 93 to
tough one.
02, and every decision they made in those 2 decades.
Every decision?
Well, I mean, they were all lousy. When it came time to pay anybody, we have no money. Well, hey, why are the Brewers able to pay people? They're the same market size as you guys.
That's a tough one.
That's not a fun one. But yeah, they just cheaped out. All right, movies, best year.
Can we please pick a year where I have I do know some of these older movies, but can we try at least for 2?
Let's start with Matt Money Smith.
When you look at 74, Cynthia, you don't go 1 through 6 and just say
they're amazing.
You can't beat that.
This is your offering, Money.
7 as well.
This is your offering. Is you're going 74?
Mine is 74, and then the backup to that is 85.
I don't know, man. 94
because 85, the one film that's not on our list is Fletch.
Oh,
and when
Fletch
you put
is so good.
Fletch, Real Genius, Goonies, Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, that gets pretty formidable from a comedy standpoint. In a hurry.
Well, here's part of the evaluation.
The first 6 are all really good for most years, right? And then it's when you get a little deeper, I don't know what some of these are.
Yeah, I'm just going top 10.
What's the order?
Well, no. Here's part of the evaluation. We have to clarify whether or not this is a strength or a weakness. If these are movies that I enjoy laughing at, not with, do we give them points? I'm going to vote yes.
You're saying ironically, Rocky IV, we ironically appreciated in 1984.
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn
is my all-time, with the possible exception of Karate Kid, all 3 of them, and the possible exception of Roadhouse. These are my wheelhouse of the funniest movies ever made.
And that's where
unintentionally.
Yes, and that's where 84 comes into play for you.
But Money goes 74.
I go 74, 85 is my
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We said it last week. My favorite horror film of all time, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Young Frankenstein might be the greatest comedy in the history of film. It is that freaking good.
Young Frankenstein is underrated.
My college roommate made me watch Jerry Maguire, and the other one made me watch Young Frankenstein so much that both of those movies are forever scarred me.
What's literally
weird is, 7 times a week.
What's weird is Mel Brooks released Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles in 1 year.
Yeah. Blazing Saddles is a top 5 film for me too. That's the thing.
That may be the output from Mel Brooks in 1 calendar year. That may be the greatest achievement in cinema history. Godfather 2, like you say. I hear you. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. If you've not seen that one, that's a dandy picture.
And just so I can one-up your obscure reference, The Conversation with Gene Hackman. You want to talk about a fine film.
And don't forget The Longest Yard, too. 74, a strong year. I'm going to volunteer 1994. That's where this conversation began. I asserted it was the best. I have seen.
Yeah, I think 94 is.
You know what though?
94 is good.
Like Jerry Orbach in what was it? 1987's
Ghost
Dancing.
I mean, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing.
Ugh.
When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I might be willing to budge off of 94. That being said,
Shawshank
Pulp
and Pulp
Fiction.
Oh, come on.
I'm not a big Gump guy.
I love
think,
The Professional, though.
Yep.
Lion
Legend
King
of the
as well.
Fall. Oh, come on.
I love
Come
Legends
on.
of the Fall.
Me too.
I've consistently said
Dumb and
long hair Brad is my
the way to
Brad.
go.
Yeah, I don't like the short hair. No, I didn't. Yeah, that one. I'll cross that one out. Dumb and Dumber. Still, it was just on earlier this week, and it holds up. Jim Carrey is so funny in that movie.
I loved Speed too. Stand or get off. Stand or get off.
Speed's a legit, really good action movie. It's one of the 5 best action movies of our lives, I would say. Would you agree with that? Die Hard, Lethal Weapon.
I love.
I don't know if I was into Speed.
Is there? I like Speed. Is there more of a disparity between Speed and Speed 2?
Which my goodness,
which is maybe
there's
the worst
like,
movie.
maybe
like a top 5 worst movie of all time.
Yeah, maybe.
They're like, okay, that worked on a bus. Let's see if it works on a cruise ship. No, it doesn't.
Hey, for
also
some reason, my
94
list doesn't include Hoop Dreams. And 90, that
94.
may be 90. That might be the best movie I've ever seen.
Sports documentary, yeah.
It might be just the best movie I've ever seen. The
fantastic.
serendipity of what happens in that picture. That's
I like
intended
Clerks
to,
a lot too.
Clerks is great.
See, I'm not big on Clerks. I know that it's admired for the
Love.
DIY part of it, but I don't think the
Here's the
actual
thing.
bones of it are that great.
Dante is not great. He is not a great actor, and he is the star of the
right,
film.
and it's bad.
But every other actor around him is spectacular, and it helps bring him up. You know, I mean, Jerry is unreal.
Silent Bob and Jay rightly are the
Jay, I'm
stars
sorry.
that emerge from it.
Yes.
But yes, Handsome. What's your year?
I like 85. I think from this list, that has some of my. It's there's a few movies on here that are top 5 for.
Are you gonna release
The
this list
Goonies-
somewhere so people
Goonies,
can see?
I love.
Sure.
Yeah,
Goonies is
do
probably
that.
probably a top 3 movie for me.
Oh, of course, Goonies.
Can I admit something to everybody here and now that some other people were recently shocked by? I've never seen Goonies.
What?
I've never seen
that
Grease.
must-
Absolutely. How?
And by the way, Real Genius is one of the fine. Have you ever seen Real Genius?
Of course.
I'm okay.
Now,
Now you just tell us you haven't seen Goonies. And
you're right. I hate the people who,
How
of
have you
course,
not
yes.
seen the Goonies? How did that happen?
I don't know.
How could that possibly have
I don't
happened
know.
in your life?
It's weird.
Are you like me though? Like I've never seen Grease, and now I won't watch it because I'm like, screw that. I don't want to see it.
No,
Like,
well,
I'm
I
a
got
holdout
in
on
some
purpose.
hot water recently for announcing that I feel Grease 2 is superior to Grease. And
Ridiculous.
people
I
think
wouldn't
that's
know.
fraudulent.
Please, will you take your
God.
children this weekend and watch the Goonies with them?
Yes,
they're,
that is
they're
a-
of the right age now.
Exactly.
They're
Is that right?
That's the age you should have watched
Exactly
it.
right.
And apart from you whatever.
Well, as we veer into whether or not we're allowed to laugh at some of these movies and then
Weird
hold them up-
Science is a good one to laugh at and with.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, it's got some
Gary and Wyatt,
legitimately funny stuff, but it
Yep.
does have some good, some unintentionally funny stuff. Teen Wolf, I think.
Yeah, now I haven't seen it for a long time. but
I love it.
I
I
can't
love it.
imagine
It's
how
still
you
great.
wouldn't laugh at it.
Wait, hold
lot.
on. My very favorite movie of all time is not
Rambo. Rambo is
Exactly. Rambo's there, and then you've got Commando and Rocky 4 on
Witness-
on the back side.
Witness, most underrated Harrison Ford flick.
Witness right in the middle of the greatest actor streak in movie history. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but I've said before, and I'll say it again to you, that that Harrison Ford's run of Empire, Raiders, Return of the Jedi, Last Crusade, and Witness is the greatest uninterrupted great movie streak you'll ever
It's a heck of a streak.
But yes, John Book. I mean, come on. If you haven't seen him make time with an Amish lady,
Darn right.
I
Get her
also
book.
think
And he did it classy. It's a classy make time with her.
I also think what's
Make
missing from this
time.
list, I think, is one of my favorites. Talking about making time, my first ever crush, Elizabeth Shue in Adventure in Babysitting.
yeah.
Babysitting.
Is that an eight? I think that's.
Well, I mean, we
95.
already had a crush on her from Karate Kid, so that goes to 84.
Right.
Instead of, I think Karate Kid was 84, right? Instead of 85.
I think that's right.
That sounds
And you
right.
also you have Cocoon. Here's the thing with 84.
Yeah, Karate Kid.
Red
84.
Dawn, Spinal Tap. 84 might be it. 84 might be my new front
Really?
runner. Spinal
Beverly
Tap.
Hills Cop.
The Bounty with Mel
Hills
Gibson
Cop.
and Anthony Hopkins is wildly underrated. People don't like that picture because they hold it up against the Marlon Brando version, but that's a great picture. Terminator. Children
Temple
of the
of Doom.
Corn with Malachi.
Oof.
Karate Kid. I mean,
By the way,
Miyagi and
Children of the Corn
Danielson.
does not age well. If you go back and watch it, it is one that freaked you out because Malachi was so creepy, but then you go back to watch it and you're like,
This is
this
nothing.
is stupid.
In the first 10 minutes when that red-haired Malachi shows up, boy, that actor really had a run in the 80s there between that and
Can't Buy Me Love.
And Can't Buy Me
That's
Love.
my favorite.
Yes, down my house.
You
While he's playing
on
in
my
Durham.
house.
Yeah.
I love Can't Buy Me Love. Her name was Cindy Mancini, so I watched it on repeat.
If you want to see
Cindy.
peak 80s movie that did well in the theater that talk about doesn't hold up, like, wait, that? People paid money to go and see that movie unironically, and we're like, yeah, that's a pretty good summer movie. Conan the Destroyer. Go watch
It's
Wilt
a very bad
Chamberlain
movie.
and
You know what was the cable
and
classic?
Arnold and everybody. Oh, it's the
To
best.
follow Conan, it was like the lower budget, if you will, Conan. It became like every day when you were a child and during summer vacation you would watch it. Beastmaster. Remember, Beastmaster was like the cable version of Conan that was on every single day and every kid would watch.
Yeah, that's Beastmaster. Yeah, that was a real weird period we entered there. Lady Hawk.
Lady Hawk.
What was going on with all that stuff? Anyway, all right, you know what? There it is. Drop us a line. Emma VP, were we
Are you
going
gonna
to
post a poll? Is that the plan?
You need to give people these lists so they can see it and
These
vote.
lists were helpful.
What? People don't have computers? They can go on their own computers.
Who's gonna go and
We
Google?
grabbed these from IMDb, but we will be happy to post some lists.
I think that's
on
All right,
Twitter.
we'll post
I
the
think
list
that's
for
smart.
you. Now, what's the big? Let's get one college football pick. That's it. Virginia
Yes.
Tech, Miami. Do we agree?
Oh, I
that's
thought
the
you were going to
biggest.
go Bedlam. Little Bedlam.
Bedlam.
Oklahoma.
Bedlam's
Oklahoma's
Is that
better.
bigger?
Bedlam's
Is that
better.
more significant to the BCS Final Four?
Well, yeah. I mean, Oklahoma still has it. It's so funny how the playoff always manages to shake out, right? So you've got Ohio State that's got a loss to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's like, well, one-loss team, we got to get in over Ohio State. Now that they've beat Penn State, and Ohio State saying, well, we beat Penn State, so now we got to get in over. And Georgia's, well, we beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame, well, we only lost to Georgia by 1. I mean, it is hilarious how it always shakes out. So, yeah, that's a big one because it looks like Oklahoma is kind of doing the Oklahoma thing, right?
Whereas Miami feels a bit fraudulent. They're
This is going to be the start of their streak that we'll see whether or
not. So
not
they'll fall away. Okay, go ahead. Give us the
Um,
Bedlam pick.
So, Bedlam, why go Oklahoma? I just feel like that's the bigger game. Although, I mean, Tech, Miami, whoever wins, that's probably going to win Coastal. So, also a huge pick. The Miami defense has been really good, but that Virginia Tech defense has been really, really good. So I'm just wandering.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that at
sorry.
minimum the Canes are starting to integrate their retro uniforms
Yes.
into the,
Yes.
into the
Yes.
season.
I'd take Oklahoma and I'd take Tech, I think, for both of those.
Cindy,
with him.
There we
both
go.
of those.
Mm-hmm.
Handsome, you
Sure.
agree as well?
Why not?
Sure. I've
Why
been
not?
overseas. I've not been able to keep my eye on university ball.
And this is kind of this I think is the start of the
In secondary school, they hardly matter.
Baker Mayfield is going to win the Heisman. This is the
This is
start.
it, is it?
This is the start of that
I
stretch
know.
run.
Barkley is no longer a cinch,
because
that's
no
for
one
sure.
has separated, and you just kind of think about how Oklahoma always ends their year, pushing toward that playoff spot, and Mayfield looks like that's the way it's probably going to shake out.
All right, we do.
All
When
right.
Final Four comes up. Who's the Final Four? Cindy, go.
Final Four.
NFL.
Alabama.
No.
One.
NFL, please. You with the clickety clack on the computer. You lose focus here.
Eh.
NFL.
NFL Final Four. I've got on the AFC side, it's going to be the problem here is it's hard to know how the playoffs shake out, right? Because my two top teams in front of my model are Kansas City.
This
All
is
the
time
caveats.
Yeah, she's
Look at
stretching.
the time
She's
bias.
stretching. That's all it is. It's time buying. Come on,
Kansas
buying.
City and the Steelers.
Purchasing
Okay,
time.
I don't like being nice to you.
There you go.
It's just really hard for me sometimes.
Spit it out.
Today.
What the 14-2
KC,
Steelers.
Pittsburgh, no New England Patriots.
That's what I'm saying, because if New England face it, it depends on the road through. But right now, as it stands, the two most likely in my model are Kansas City and the Steelers.
Do you think, legitimately, if Kansas City sees the Patriots in the postseason, who do you take?
Sadly, I think I like mentally take the Patriots. I'd have to see what the configurations are at the time. It's not my model, like whatever. I'm just saying, like mentally, I can't see the Patriots losing that game just because the Kansas City defense has started to look very vulnerable, and it kind of feels like New England's getting better, and Kansas City's not getting better on defense at least yet. So that's something that I think. So that's why I'm saying it depends. But I think that Pittsburgh could beat New England in the play. You know what I mean? Like it's that's why I say it depends. All my caveats, but they're
too much analytics.
I think the Patriots have taken up
See?
headspace with Roethlisberger. I think he'll be so. I mean, I don't know. I hope I'll be proven wrong. I hope the Steelers will have the opportunity to prove me wrong in January at some point, or maybe the Chiefs can take care of business of the Patriots, and it'll just be them between us and a Super Bowl trip. That's right. I ussed it, Cindy.
You did.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Who's
Eagles
in the NFC side?
Eagles and Seahawks.
All right, nice and easy peasy. Handsome Hank.
I got the same in the NFC, but the Chiefs and Patriots in the AFC.
Chiefs.
Exact same as Hank. Yeah, I replaced the no, actually I replaced the Chiefs with the Steelers. Okay. I go Steelers, Pats, Eagles, Seahawks.
I have news for you. I think this is going to be a week of upsets in the NFL. This is upset week. Week 9.
Upset week.
Sunday night, that's what we'll be talking about. So many upsets in week 9. No one saw this coming, and then you'll say, no. My pal Dave told me it was going to be a week of upsets.
Pal.
One of them is going to be the Alfred Morris-led Dallas Cowboys over the Kansas City Chiefs.
The best thing about that game,
slide will continue.
Best thing about that game, Romo. He's broadcasting it.
Oh, he is, eh?
I know, it's going to be a treat for America.
That is fun.
Do you remember a few years ago when those two
by the way, I think that makes the Chargers with their feet put up get a half game closer.
Do you know what
they're going to still end up winning that division.
How can we make this happen? If we're going to use our powers for good, can we get a Matt Money Smith and Tony Romo calling a game?
I was hopeful.
Who do I have to convince
See,
this happened?
Ryan Mallett.
I was hopeful that it was going to happen on Thanksgiving because it's Chargers Cowboys, and when the AFC team visits, that's the network that gets the broadcast. So I was like, AFC, it'll be Nance. No, the Fox still gets the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, even though it's an AFC.
Can we start writing letters?
It might happen. Look, if the Chargers make a run. There's a Redskins road game at the Chargers late in the season that very well could end up being.
I'm starting a letter writing campaign. Dear CBS.
That's a writing campaign.
Dear CBS.
Oh, actually, no. What am I thinking? They're CBS, so yeah, it could end up being Chargers at Chiefs.
This would be the best day ever.
Yeah, week 15.
Christmas.
There you go. Week 15. Chargers
Christmas
at Chiefs.
would come early.
Write a letter to Money's friend, cousin Sal. He and Tony are pally.
Look, I just really that would be I would listen to it on repeat. We would, oh my goodness, we'd get such that.
So you would put my voice in for Jim Nance's, and then you would put Tony's in for Nick Hardwick, and that's how you would mash it up. It'd be like one of them mashes.
No,
consider it done in advance.
Done and done.
You want to actually see them in the.
No, I want to see them. Like I want money on TV.
I want to be sitting next to that guy. That's gonna help me out. Hey, Tony, there you are, former Cowboy quarterback, good-looking guy. Here I am, schlep. Radio guy.
Oh,
weird.
I see.
This is where money is supposed to. We're supposed to go. Okay, let's do 1, 2, 3. No,
thanks.
no,
Stop. Come on.
Complicated self-esteem, Matt Money Smith. You see?
Thank you.
Take it out on Eddie. Quick, say something mean to Eddie.
The trickle down. You see, Romo. He fears Romo would not like him, so then he has to, for some reason, senselessly
lash out at Eddie.
Poor Spider.
Hey, Eddie.
Thanks, New York Exit, by the way, is now our go-to.
JPP show Tony Romo what? Get out of town, bum. All right. My final four. Listen, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Mulligans are for chumps. I'm not taking one. I'm staying with what I had.
What did you have?
I don't remember. I had that. No, I had the Seahawks. I had the Seahawks over the Steelers, and I think
Packers. I think
I had the
right? Seahawks, Packers.
Probably the Packers.
Yeah.
Probably the Packers.
You are a chump for sticking with it.
All right, listen, my Eagles pick's looking good. Seahawks rounded into shape. Maybe the best team in the NFC in the second half. If you consider that Jason Peters goes out for the Eagles and now Seahawks.
Wayne Brown comes in for the Seahawks.
Yeah,
that nice. Seems like,
What do you make of the whole Pete Carroll, by the way, saying we're committed to Eddie Lacy this week? He's our guy. Hey, by the way, we just got a new left tackle. O-line play is going to be a lot better. Sorry, Thomas Rawls, but we're going Eddie Lacy this week. And he's like, wait a minute. When you get the new left tackle, now I'm not the guy anymore? That doesn't seem fair that last week was my audition and this week's Eddie's. He gets Dwayne Brown on the offensive line.
But Eddie Lacy got cut.
Eddie Lacy got cut?
Yes. Oh, are we breaking news here? I thought this was going to end with something, but then they bring Eddie Lacy back. I thought I didn't know. Yeah, they cut him on Wednesday.
It goes to show you what happens when you're covering the Dodgers for the
starter for this week.
Let's make sure that this is right. Because
he's definitely the starter for this week.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, you've embarrassed yourself.
Who did the Seahawks cut then? Didn't they cut? Spaghetti just nodded his head.
Hawks planning to give Eddie Lacy more carries
Bevel
this week
stated.
per NFL.com.
Bevel stated in Seahawks press conference that they would start Eddie Lacy on Sunday and
forget what Bevel
see
said.
where things
Dameshek, just cut him.
Wait a second.
Why would the
We
offensive
need an
coordinator
answer
of the
to this.
Seahawks
Here, I'm
know
giving
the
it to you.
answer? We've just given you the answer.
I'm
Dave.
gonna
You're wrong.
NFL.com. Seattle Seahawks brought in Dwayne Brown to help.
Did we just get Uncle Chaps? Did that? Because that was a legitimate tweet I read on Wednesday. Is that Eddie Lacy was cut, and I saw people
Quote from today from Pete Carroll. Gonna see a lot of Eddie this week.
Yeah, not Dave though.
Whoa, we just got Uncle Chaps on the show. That's great. Spaghetti
No.
loves Barstool. You got to tweet that at him. I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
We didn't get Uncle Chaps.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying Spaghetti and I did.
Okay, the rest
That's
of
who
us
it was?
did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was him, but he's the one who made it
Like that,
famous.
he's done that. Yeah, like with the Adam Schefter with like 3 Ds
And
and like an extra
and
R.
a number 3.
I've never been victimized.
You know why? Because
never fallen
who wants
prey to fake
who wants
news?
to break that headline?
Right.
Like that's some sort of big news.
I love it. No, you know what? I'm thrilled by it. As a matter of fact. All right, let's get to it now. With that shame now put behind all of us, it's time for the Week 9 picks, Red Challenge flag style.
Red Challenge flag
Picks! Yeah.
Another one.
Woo!
Oh, we're changing it up there a little bit.
That was a really
I normally say,
enthusiastic
hey.
woo.
That's right. I just
Enthusiastic. I'm not, no complaints on this end from the collective enthusiasm here in Studio 66 as we jump into the action. It's the Falcons and the new look Panthers diminished by their own hand for some reason with Kelvin Benjamin. I don't exactly understand
I don't get it either.
They'll, with Halloween having come and gone. Wait, oh no, that's gone. Last week was horror movies. What is this week's TV guide?
This week is game shows.
Ah,
Oh, hooray!
Tell us more about this game, Emma VP.
All right, this game, the episode is called Julio Wants to Be a Millionaire. The spotlight is on Julio as he takes center stage to compete in a numbers-based game against the blue team for the chance at an exclusive downfield getaway and 6 whole points of score credit. With just 2 minutes until the final buzzer, Cam Newton scrambles to solve the problem at hand despite Vic Beasley and Keanu Neal relentlessly pushing his buttons.
I love that you got Keanu Neal.
It really is great. I also, though, I for all of Emma VP's many virtues, the one thing, it would be funny if Emma VP were a game show host. Wouldn't that be a good one? Like, hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Pretty lame, yeah.
Okay, it's time. By the way,
the prize, $10,000. Or a car.
Yeah.
Or a car, either one.
What do you want?
Which one?
Okay, let's move
Let's
on.
go. Come on.
We really got to get this moving. Yeah, you are going to have to give me an answer here immediately.
All right, Money, we'll start with you. He'll pick them all.
Of all the games.
He'll get to pick them all this week because his Chargers are on the bye. Falcons, Panthers. Choose.
Right. Throw them. Panthers.
Bang! I'm throwing it. You're
2.
keeping it,
I'm
though.
keeping mine in my pocket.
Cindy, tell us about it. Why are you taking the Falcons?
Taking the Falcons based primarily on turnovers, and both of these teams are both in the bottom of the league in terms of turnover differential. So you got to look to see why these turnovers are happening and when they're happening and where. And really what's going on with Cam Newton and the Falcons, or not the Falcons, and the Panthers is they had Kelvin Benjamin in the box. So he's lined up at the slot quite a bit. His big body is now gone. It could change the space in the defense. However, it could also increase like his rushing potential, which could be good, except he's been their lead rusher in 3 games, I believe, if not more. So far this season, he has 5 fumbles in those. So it's like turnovers there. And then if you look at his deep ball accuracy, it's been very low. Turnovers there. So we've got running game turnovers projected and passing game turnovers projected. And then on the other side, Matt Ryan, the turnovers that have been coming there on that side of the ball, that's a big uptick from last year. But with Devontae Freeman stabilizing the run game, and even though Carolina's run defense is good, especially with Luke Kuechly playing, you still got Julio Jones, you still got Mohamed Sanu, you still got the tight end option. So the point is there's less of an opportunity for turnovers for the Falcons than than there are for the Panthers. That was
a guy maybe I was a little too enthusiastic about going into the season and what he would do in the offense was Curtis Samuel. Kelvin Benjamin's departure at least clears the path for the Ohio State kid to break out here. That being said, I'm going with the Falcons in spite of the fact that it's very weird to me. One of the big swings and misses for me to this point in the season is that Falcons defense. Forget the second half of Super Bowl 51. You know what happened there. People have forgotten.
What happened? Oh, wait, never mind.
It was one of those things. It was one of those moments where I'm watching pro football, that first half, as it winds down there. In fact, as who was it? Was it Robert Alford who had the pick six? Whoever it was on Tom Brady. As I watched 39-year-old 12 flail pathetically on the ground as the Falcon made way to glory, I was thinking, it hit me. It's just speed. Speed kills. You know that this defense is that Belichick and Brady and all the stuff that we can swoon over. They can't handle the speed of this Falcons defense. Why is it so bad this year? Why is it not dominant this year?
Whoa, wait. What?
I don't mean bad.
It's
why
average.
is it not dominating?
It's not dominating like they were in the second half of last year.
What's going to ruin pro football this year, this defense?
I mean, they're banged up a little bit, right? I mean, Vic Beasley came in nicked up a little bit, so I think that's part of it. But also I think it's the offense. You know, when you're giving your team a 14-point lead in the middle of the third quarter, when you got a speed rush, you can really start getting after it. And it's kind of what we're seeing with the Cowboys these last couple weeks. Like, oh, the defense metrics are so much better on the Cowboys. Well, yeah, because they're going up by 2 touchdowns, and DeMarcus Lawrence is just getting crazy and going after teams that feel like they got to start passing the ball. So I think that's probably.
But given that, I know it's a one game pushback here. But what happened with the Bills? I mean, they had them in their own joint, and they jumped up. What was it, 17-0? On them?
Yeah, I guess that doesn't help my position.
No, I'm not. I guess I am refuting you, but that's a perfect example of that. Maybe they're
turnovers is what happened.
Nowhere to go, but
that was a big difference in that game was turnovers, and that's kind of that's why I went with the Panthers. I look at an Atlanta team that is still struggling to figure it out. And I don't know if it's Steve Sarkisian or what it is, but the fact that Julio Jones is now embattled and he's not happy with how he's being used, his targets are way down. Matt Ryan's throwing interceptions all over the place. It just seems like there's a lot of negativity surrounding.
Well,
I think the return of Mo Sanu is going to make a big difference on their offense.
Well, yeah, he had that nifty touchdown catch last week.
He looked at me like there was sarcasm in that.
No, I meant it. I actually meant it. I just like saying.
Yeah, trying to balance out the other side.
By the way, I know you're a big fantasy person, so you said Samuel Curtis, but also in addition to him, people to consider Russell Shepard.
Old Russ
Shepard.
So Curtis Samuel and Russ Shepard.
Russell Shepard and
go.
Ed Dixon. And I also think you have, like, Jonathan Stewart becomes fully playable in this situation. I want you to point out that Atlanta's defense, they only allow 4.8 big plays a game, so that's 10 or more yards rushing or 20 or more yards passing. That's actually number 28. It's very low, so they're better than you think.
All right. Well, we shall see, and they can get it going here to start the second half here with a victory, get the 5-3, knock the Panthers down there in fine shape for the playoff chase. Next up, the Ravens and the Titans, a turn of the millennium rivalry. Now, kind of a game we might look over just a little bit. Tell us more about it there, Emma VP.
All right, we have an airing of the Newlywed game. Live from Nashville, Tennessee, with your host, the Titans. Watch as we shine the lights on Davis' connection with Mariota. Has this newly hitched receiver found his QB1 true love, or will he take the out route and split? Contestants Weddle and Decker prove to viewers that opposites don't always attract, particularly when both sides are outly rooting for the other to fail.
Very nice.
Well done,
VP. Yeah, remember those great games when that was such a weird period. The AFC Central used to be a 6-team division of the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and then the new Jaguars. Well, the Ravens were new too at that point, and the Titans.
Oilers / Titans. Was it ever the Oilers or no?
It was the
Oilers. Yeah, it was the Oilers.
That's why they.
But I mean, in the midst of that, they then became the Titans.
I think in that transition, they were the Tennessee, and they played in Memphis for a year or whatever.
One year they were not.
They were the Tennessee Oilers.
They were the Tennessee Oilers, playing in Memphis, not Nashville.
Right. Yeah, they joined for 1 year. They joined the Los Angeles Lakers, where in LA where there are no lakes, the Utah Jazz, where there's no jazz,
no oil and. Probably.
So upsetting for you.
Right, exactly. All right, all that being said, Ravens, Titans, Cindy Freeland, choose.
I'm going with the Titans.
Bang! I'm going to go with the Ravens,
No,
and I'll
you're
tell you
not.
why. Yes, I am.
Why?
No, you're not.
Because I feel that defense with Dick LeBeau and company is not very good. I think Ravens, not good, and the Ravens,
Second time in a row.
The Ravens are a very good defense. They remain a very good defense. I don't think DeMarco Murray or Derrick Henry or anyone else is really going to get off on the ground against them. And I think that Joe Flacco will be able to scratch out enough to emerge victorious in a game that the Ravens realistically really have to have if they want to. I mean, you can't at this point now you need to start winning if you intend to be continuing playing come January.
But that's an awful lot of belief to show in the Ravens offense.
They hung 40 on Miami.
Here's I guess where I would push back. One, you mentioned the rush defense. It's not great. We saw what Lev Bell and what Leonard Fournette did to this Ravens team and how it just wrecked them. So
yeah, but I'll also throw out Brandon Williams' absence.
Okay, that's fair. But you also have the tackles in Tennessee. You have the bye week where Mariota, and this is I don't know what his hamstring looks like, but I'll just project it. Maybe the bye week, and now that we're 3 weeks removed from that, makes him that more dual threat, a rushing quarterback that can get those 30 to 50 yards on the ground, put that Baltimore defense on its heels. And as you said, the offense is terrible. The Titans defense is not good, but it's not terrible. I just think they're the better team. Like I think in both phases, I think they're the better of the two teams.
I like
I'll
the pieces
give them the nod
they have.
Home. Yeah,
I'm interested to see Corey Davis for sure.
Yeah.
But I also think that where you've long been suspect of Dirk Cutter's ability to be the head man in the NFL,
and I know, and that's
where I am
point.
on Mike Mularkey.
Fair point.
Mike Mularkey. I mean, listen. Let's not ignore the fact that Mike Mularkey continues to be the head coach of a pro football team.
It is
here.
extraordinary.
Still.
Yeah, I just don't like that. I mean, I think the Ravens understand their position perennially. They are in contention for a playoff spot more often than not. And I think if they wish to continue to...
This is a game they usually win.
This is one that they're going to go down.
Or their playoff push.
Right. Then they'll be 5-4, and they'll be, again, in fine shape for the
He's overweighting his Dick LeBeau, past, right? Like, the Flacco 7-0 versus Dick LeBeau defenses. I think you're overweighting that given Pittsburgh.
Wow, listen.
Giving your Pittsburgh roots.
Dick LeBeau has not exactly produced a number of good defenses in at least
a
half dozen years
that's
now
why
in the NFL.
I think that's why you're overweighting the Ravens in this one. I think you're your recency. You're the thing that you're most.
It's your subconscious, Dave.
Yeah, it is. It's your
like
subconscious.
Yours, money.
Listen,
yeah.
I'm sitting right here. I can hear that, and it hurts.
I think.
Well, how do you think Eddie feels?
Eddie Spaghetti. Can I tell you something about Spaghetti? Eddie Spaghetti. The other day, we're sitting at the cubicle in between him, his periodic
table of elements.
Sprays. He loves to spray cologne on himself at the cubicle. Is
At
that
the
true,
cubicle?
Spaghetti? Is that true? Yeah, he likes to. Yeah, I've named him.
Have you guys smelled this Christian Dior Fahrenheit? It's something.
Dracar Noir, baby! Tory wore it in the dugout for all titles.
I'm the one that's picking on him.
Spaghetti, though.
What is your cologne of choice, Spaghetti?
I own Burberry Sport.
Yeah.
But that was not brought
It's got a nice wooden top on it. It's classy.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
No, that's the I have the Sport. I have the lower version. But I do not bring it to work, nor do I wear T-shirts and jeans where I'm putting on cologne in the middle of the day.
He's the cologne king of the cubicle.
Oh, yeah.
Why Spaghetti? Who in your mind is the one responsible for coloning himself?
I'm not gonna. I have an idea who it is.
Who is
it? Do you really?
It's not Sully.
You know
he
who it is
sits back
too.
there, Sully Oda Fish.
Do I really? I know who it is.
We saw him walk by, and it wafted everywhere throughout the whole sideline.
Who's putting on cologne at
Was
the
it
workplace?
Sully?
No, that's
It's
Sully.
definitely not Sully.
Who
It's
is
not
it?
Sully.
Spit it out, Spaghetti. Come on.
I don't think it's a character who's been named on the podcast.
Well, you can.
Unnamed
Now's his
character.
time.
I'm a good
character.
coworker. I'm a good coworker. I'm not gonna.
In our scripted,
I could be wrong.
fictionalized.
Yes. He's just an extra, not a main player.
Somebody who walked by who had. All right. Anyway, so Spaghetti is attempting to shift blame for the coloning. Emma VP, do you think it's Spaghetti?
No.
Oh, see.
Tell us who it is.
No.
Emma's not as discreet as.
Yeah, Emma will tell us
Tell,
who it is.
tell us who it is.
Who's
I
cologning themselves?
don't know who it is. I think it's still
Come
a mystery.
on. It's not a mystery.
It's the great mystery of the cubicles.
Eddie Spaghetti threw a big Halloween party over the weekend.
We weren't invited.
What?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he would not. Well, some of us were invited.
I went as Dean Martin, the most underrated Rat Packer there is, and I got wasted, and it was great.
Spaghetti made an interesting claim. It was bizarre. He announced the other day, apropos of nothing. Well, actually, he had a good tweet. He said, "I'm really missing the dining hall at BU. I loved it, and you know what? This is something I can get behind. That's exactly right. For somebody, especially when you're in your 20s and you go out into the real world, people love to be too cool for the quality of food that you get at the college dining hall. But it's they have 3 squares for you, and they have a variety of options
cereal.
for you.
Yeah,
they give you all of it. It's the best. And then you put your tray on the thing, and then
that's it.
Don't have to
goodbye.
do
Like there's no cleaning, there's no making. All you have to do is sit there and put it into your pie hole. I hear where Spaghetti's coming from on that, but then he went a little too far, and he announced, BU has the best dining hall in America. And I laughed. I laughed in his face. I said, based
what
on
constitutes their greatest dining hall?
I said, well, that's a ridiculous charge. I laughed. I condescending.
How many college dining halls has Spaghetti frequented?
That's what I said. It's the best one ever. Boom. Next story. And I said, well, that's a laughable thing to say. Based on what would you say that? Then he dug up an article in USA Today named it the best dining hall in America.
Well, then it was just plagiarism.
I don't lie.
That's all it was. It was just plagiarism. I mean, somebody posted it while he was a student at BU, and he just carried that with him. He's never tasted dining room fare.
I know, but I congratulate you. You win this round, Eddie Spaghetti.
I do,
me on this
just quickly, because I know how much you appreciate food. We all appreciate food on this podcast, but you like to share with the listeners spots. For the first time, we were out. I was out with the Chargers playing the Patriots, so I had a day off. I went to a Brown Penn game, got to go to Ivy League football for the first time in a long time. That was splendid. There was a place at the Brown Stadium called the Bear Den, right, where the students are supposed to pile in and really make it hard on the opposing team.
Oh, yeah.
There were 2 guys in there playing cornhole. It's an out of a possible 1,000 kids, 2 guys playing cornhole. But afterward, I went to a place.
Good luck surviving the den.
That's right.
Might die of boredom.
Per a recommendation called the Olneyville, New York System was the name of this place. And they are hot dogs that are unique to Olneyville, New York System. It is a finely chopped white onion, mustard, celery salt, and not chili, but what they call meat sauce. And it was this nice, moist meat that wasn't runny at all. And it is one of the best dogs I have ever had anywhere in this fine country that prides itself on a good encased meat. Cannot recommend it enough if you're in Providence. Olneyville, New York System is what it is called.
It's a really hard name to remember.
Look him up on Twitter. I like that it. I like that it says in fluorescent light, wiener.
Yeah, it says eat hot wieners is what it says in the neon right out front.
I saw that, and you know what? But here's one of Dave's secrets. You know how on my life resume we talk about what goes on your life resume, and along with great urban walker and great remote control operator and great orderer of food at restaurants and all those things, I can cite. Here's the trick of a good restaurant is the sign outside will tell you almost always if the restaurant's going to be good. If they have enough aesthetic sense to have a good sign and a good storefront, then they know how to make the food on the inside too.
So you're saying do judge a book by its cover?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Hans.
And I will just quickly to round it out.
There are very few places that have awesome exterior that's like, oh, that place is garbage inside, or vice versa.
The service was second to none, and the argument that 2 of the seemingly lifers at this spot we're having, as one of them told me in his Boston accent, you got to go to this place called Tops. It's the ladies are a little old, but they're ready. All right, and that's where I think you should go tonight. and then his buddy down at the other end goes, "That's women. Look at this guy. He's a young guy. You're not going to send him there. Why would you send him there? These women are too old." He goes, "But they're ready." You know what I mean?
Ready.
And a lot of it has to do on if they're ready or not. These women are ready. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You go to this place and they're classy. It's 25 and over. They're ready, ladies. But they're old. They're old, but they're ready. And it was a back and forth for a good 3-4 minutes that really made the experience even better.
Oh, that's
so you went.
Yeah. I did not go.
He wasn't ready.
I was not ready.
He went to the den to hang out. He made it 3.
Yeah, but the ladies are ready. But they're old. But they're ready.
Now the Bear Den's got 3 in it. Cindy Freeland, I've
Yo.
also noticed that when you weigh in on things, because the word classy as it pertains to this establishment reminds me, I noticed that you are subjected to, is my mic working? It
Sounds
is?
good to me.
Definitely working.
Probably is, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah.
I noticed that you're subjected to, and I've heard like, women who are in the public eye, guys.
Here we go.
Guys tweet them.
Here we go.
Don't you think? I mean, where do you come down on that? And I don't want to discourage people
On
from
what?
saying nice things to Cindy or anyone else, but it veers into when I tweet out like, Matt Money Smith, Cindy Freeland, and I, a gay time in Studio 66 about people. Then there's some percentage of guys that let you know how they feel about your appearance. What do you think? Why are you making faces at Emma VP right now?
I'm making faces at the camera.
Okay, but do you frown on these sorts of these comments?
So, unlike some people in this room right here, I don't live in my mentions very often because I find that it's more about like the cool people who ask like really awesome questions. I really focus on them because I get such an overwhelming majority of people being like, how did you come up with this? You know, do you code in R? Like these questions I love to answer. I will always tell you what I code in. Absolutely. Anytime.
Me too.
And I just like don't listen to the other ones because if you listen to the positive ones and you also listen to the negative ones,
I code in cool water. That's what I code in. Sorry, Cynthia.
right? Like no, it's good. Like people will say. So I focus.
But they're
on
not
people.
negative per se. They're just comments
No,
on that
they're
they
just
enjoy
weird.
the way you the figure you cut on camera.
I just kind of like I appreciate that people are being positive. I just like positive interaction.
So that's fine.
I don't-
I
I just
want
don't really
to
live in-
try and set this. I want to try to set the borders of what for the Czech Republic what is appropriate.
Yeah, as long as you're being positive, we're cool.
Okay.
Right?
All
Like
right. Good.
I'm not going to I just don't live in my mentions. So I can't I
do.
can't.
I wish I could live in my Vontez Burfict's not going to live in my
Right.
mentions anymore now
You're
that
blocked,
now
pal.
that I blocked him and he blocked me. Emma VP, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys. Tell us all about it, won't you?
All right, we have an airing of Prescott Your Luck.
Yeah, no whammies, no whammies.
Yes.
Exactly. Despite having millions in the bank and a consolation prize of a private jet back home, Kelsey is motivated to rack up his points total just for the chance to dance around like crazy on national TV. Eager to finally spin his wheels, Morris unfortunately falls flat and loses a turn. Tasked with decoding the Chiefs' defense, Dak decides to pass as he isn't confident running with a hurried hunch.
Well done, Emma VP. And by the way, Pressure Luck, one of the gems in the. I don't.
I know I have just made this much longer than you'd like this podcast to be, but I do want to share a story that all of you out there listening can go look up. It's one of the great little nuggets in game show history. There was a man who figured out how to win the
My
board.
sister Debbie and I watched that in its
Right?
original airing. We watched that and could not believe it. What he done? Not again!
Every single
the
time,
best. We
and he
watched
had to
that
go
in real time.
had to go to court to
Yep.
keep his money because he said it's a game of skill. It was a game of skill. I was able to navigate the board, and I should be able to keep my money. It didn't end well for that guy, but heck of a moment.
How did it
Cindy
end?
Freeland and Handsome Hank. Do either one of you know Pressure Luck?
I know what it is. I've seen it on the Game Show Network.
Right, with the
board.
little square,
With the
yeah.
no
I
no
forget
whammies,
his
no
name.
whammies,
the,
no whammies.
The
host?
late Tamarkin, Peter Tamarkin,
Yes, Peter
passed
Tamarkin.
away in a glider accident. I think.
Is that what it was?
I think so. I think he crashed a glider into the shoreline somewhere out here.
Gliders are interesting. Where do you come down on gliders?
Here's what I'm going
Seems
to
like
tell
a
you.
bad idea.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
It's like
If
I'm
I
gonna go
die-
fly.
If I die in something,
a plane with no.
It's like a paper airplane
It's
with
like
a person
what?
in it.
What? Why would you voluntarily go do
wait,
that?
hold on.
Doesn't
So
seem
if
like
I die, like if I get bit by a shark or like on a glider or whatever, I want that like to be the thing. Like I
It
want
would-
everyone to know. Like I want it on my tombstone or whatever.
Oh,
you
I
do,
see what
and
you're
like,
saying. So we know that he passed away in the
Right.
glider accident,
Yes,
right?
because it's so sad that he passed away. Like obviously no one wants that, but you're like he passed away in a glider. You're like, what? That's fascinating.
That's an
changes
interesting
First conversation.
It kind of makes things
Right.
happy, even if it's not.
It's ironically it kind of makes the case for one of the things we say all the time. Don't just survive, live.
Live.
Right.
In dying,
Cynthia got bit by
Yeah.
a shark. Well,
when you die,
having
do it
fun.
living, not surviving.
Right.
You know.
But is
Right.
is gliding really living?
Let's make a point. Let's make a point on the next DDFP with this gang. Let's try to figure out what the most the grandest deaths would be.
Okay.
You know, that's a good one.
That's a
good
Glider death. You know,
rocket ship, going to Mars or the moon or something like that. That's
rocket ship.
Ain't nothing better than that.
I'm gonna go joust. You know, lance to the sternum.
hurt.
You know, you survive and you look
That
for the
would
wife
hurt.
and kids and let them know you're with me always. I'll be with you. You know,
I wouldn't mind getting
Right.
killed in the ring.
right? That's what I
With a
mean.
bull.
Bull or human or
Bull
human.
fighting.
Yeah, but that would.
Your
oof.
first one.
Dameshek
My first time
shouldn't have
bullfighting.
tried. He went a little too far trying to go up 3 weight classes.
Right.
You know, then he got murdered.
That would hurt. But that would hurt.
Boy, he
I don't
hung
want
in
something
there.
painful.
Right.
I want it to be like a big explosion in this rocket ship's the best way.
Yeah, but
You can't beat a
but
rocket
it's
ship.
not.
like that. But it's not like defending an honor or
Right.
compete. You know what I mean?
Aliens,
So, well, certainly
We don't know
you're
if they're friendly or
you're
not.
exploring the final frontier,
Right.
and that is admirable and brave.
science.
But
I
at the
think-
same time,
I think there's something about an animal.
something about having armor on.
I think
It's kind of what I'm
armor-
thinking. You know, I
armor's
want to have
good.
armor on the body.
But like
Okay.
an out of control animal that gets you.
No, that's
Would be- I
terrifying.
think that
Oh, and you put up a fight.
You put up a fight.
that
like,
the animal
like
dies
a
as well.
chimpanzee. You know, chimpanzees are
Chimps.
kind of a lot stronger
Like a-
than you
yeah.
think they are. And a chimpanzee,
An
you fight, you
orangutan,
fought
maybe.
it,
Maybe an orangutan, yeah.
and then it just tore you apart.
Handsome Hank has shared the story before about his run-in with a ram. when
Well,
he was
that
a
could have been it.
A ram hit
That's
my
not how I
bottom.
say it.
It's
I
true.
say a
A ram once ran into him in an English field.
Right.
When he was a
How
child.
about that?
He
It
was
was
running
bad.
through
It was bad. It
He was
Emma
running
VP
through a
down.
field
hates us. Emma VP hates
and a
us.
ram hit Handsome.
I was playing
Adolescent
frisbee.
Handsome Hank.
I was playing frisbee, and the ram said, "I want to join in too." Rammed me right in the butt.
Holy cow!
But
Butted
Handsome,
me. in
Knocked
fact.
your butt clean off.
Yeah.
but
You didn't need a butt. You're
I
fine.
mean, if I got to listen, if a pack of jaguars took me out, that would be
They
one
don't-
thing.
they
And
don't go in packs.
chimpanzees, a chimpanzee death, that's an honorable death.
No, but if you gave it a good fight, they were like, "Whoa, did you see him? He nearly got that chimpanzee, nearly took it down, but the chimp won."
A
I
silverback
really like the
gorilla
way you
would
say
be one
chimp.
thing.
Like I didn't think like there. I
A
didn't think-
chimpanzee.
No, just the chimp.
Chimp.
The way, yeah, it's the best.
You get out of here, you ram! You leave my little Henry alone! You leave his bottom, his precious little bottom! I'll handle that when it's got a little mess in the diaper.
You know what I think would be a great
A
ending?
mess in the diaper.
Just-
I was
just
like
quickly.
7 years old. I didn't mess my diaper.
I think
I'd
like
get-
if I were
like
if
a
I were
year
being
earlier.
pursued by the FBI, they have to follow me all the way to the southern hemisphere because I am chasing the greatest wave that ever rolled in. And I want that FBI agent to let me go
I'm an FBI agent.
so I can die
That's
on
the
my
one.
own terms
On
because
your
I
own
have
terms.
earned that with my
Right.
life of adventure, and then I can ride that large wave to my death.
For the record, never found Bodie's body, did I?
Right.
Bodie
alive.
the,
I'm
Bodie
not
the
saying
bulldog.
anything.
Bodie the bulldog is named after that. Bodie in Utah, the bulldogs are named after Point Break.
Oh, was that
That's-
already done? That wasn't something that was unique to me. I didn't.
Emma VP just said into my ear, we're 75 minutes in.
Oh.
Ooh!
That we should
so
speed
we're
up
having
here.
a great time.
I
Super.
think so.
We should
I
hurry
think
it up.
fun should overcome time.
Oh, you told us about the Chiefs and the Cowboys already, so
Let's pick it.
let's jump into
Pickety
it.
pick.
And I believe it is your turn, Handsome. Chiefs, Cowboys, choose.
Chiefs.
Bang! I told you it's upset.
told me earlier.
It's
You did.
upset NFL Sunday.
Even no Zeke, you go Al Morris.
You really, yeah.
I feel
The
that
insulted Al Morris.
I
The
feel
best
like
team in the
it's
AFC
very
right now.
easy. Yes, well, that's very easy to get swept up in all that. But the NFL season is long, and there are any number of examples I can provide to you over just the last 5 years, forget 40 years ago, of teams that look great and unbeatable and everything else, and then they come back to earth. I think the Chiefs are a very good team, but without Eric Berry, there is a ceiling on how good that defense can be. Justin Houston is dynamite. How good is he going to be against the improving Cowboys offensive line, which is rounding into shape now? I think that Dak Prescott, this game is on his shoulders. I think he carries the day. Cowboys in a tight one, 28-27.
Okay.
Okay, Dave. Well, let's move on to the next game. Emma? No, I'm kidding. Maybe Dave wants us to do more. I don't know.
Well, does
Kareem Hunt's
anyone-
fallen off the last couple weeks.
Right.
He's not dominating the way he once was. The Chiefs' defense, as you said, is starting to I shouldn't say fall apart, but it's showing cracks. Justin Houston
Would
is
you say
dealing
it's
with a
bending
knee.
or breaking?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, think about it. If Benny Fowler doesn't drop that touchdown, I mean, you have a pretty interesting game between the Broncos and the Chiefs.
That game, absolutely. Yeah. Sitting and watching that game, it was, this is embarrassing. The Broncos have bottomed out. Trevor Siemian, what an outrage. And I said, sitting there to name drop on Monday night with Ike Taylor and David Carr, I said, everybody's like, why are the broadcast like this game is over with? The Broncos are right there in the second half.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's, I think, just a product of Kansas City not being perhaps as dominant as they were. And Dallas is playing a lot better. I mean, since the return of Sean Lee, the defense has been better. You can point out how good DeMarcus Lawrence has been rushing the passer. To me, though, that offense is all Zeke. Right. It just is. I mean, it is all nothing. Dak has been great, but he is I believe, byproduct of how dominant the O-line in Ezekiel Elliott is. And I'm sorry, Alfred Morris, but you are not Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, perhaps it comes then when he looks up to the broadcast booth and sees his predecessor, Tony Romo, there. Does that lend itself to an improved performance to show him what, or is he nervous to see Tony Romo?
I don't think he cares.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's thinking about Tony Romo at all.
Maybe not once the game begins, but if you think Tony Romo and Dak Prescott have no opinion on one another, that is.
I don't think that's the case. But wouldn't you think he'd be watching every week?
Right. I think football players are very competitive people, and I think they are aware of who's in the building, and I think that some of them can push that down, and other guys maybe feel that, and they want to put on a show.
But you know what, Dave? There's not. It's not like there's a monitor there that's going to broadcast his face.
I know, but he's going to be aware of it. We'll see him down on the field before the game.
There's not a big monitor there that he'd maybe see a face go up and the place erupt in cheers. I don't envision that happening at all.
I just don't think it bothers. I mean, he's been dealing with Tony Romo being his predecessor.
Wouldn't it be great if they put?
That's why I'm picking Dak Prescott, because with Tony Romo standing on the sidelines, that brought out the best in him. That's my point.
I love the idea of maybe the Jumbotron.
Mark, you can what all you want. Listen, Mark Sanchez did not like having Tim Tebow in the building. Some guys, on the other hand, are elevated by the presence of a challenge.
And you believe Dak
Alex Smith, and we saw Alex Smith has elevated his game because he has a challenger in the house. You see? That's my point.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it.
I mean,
all right, we'll say.
I like it when they're on the same team, but when he happens to be in town to broadcast a game, I'm a little bit.
All right. Well, the point is, the Chiefs are riding high. They're the easy pick to make it 6-2. Let's see if the Cowboys. Pick. You're right. That's right. That's exactly what I did. All right. 70s rivals. They played 3 times in 4 playoffs in the early 70s. 2 juggernauts from way back when, Greasy and Stabler, all that. Oh, we're going to do the mascot battle first. Okay, before we do that,
I was like,
it's the Raiders and the Dolphins, and let's take a look here. Who would win this one in real life? I think it's pretty easy to predict here. It's the Raider and the Dolphin. Who would win that fight? I'm going to start with you, Money.
Is it in the water? Like, is the pirate? What is the pirate on? Is it in like a dinghy, or is he on a ship, or where is the pirate?
What do you say we put the Raider, aka and by the way, we have determined, because it's been debated on this show before, what is a Raider? Is that a pirate? It is.
It's a pirate. Yes.
Yes, it is not some other. I forget what the counter argument was, but yes, it is a pirate. So anyway, yes, let's put him in a dinghy. And maybe he actually
like
fell
circa 18th century dinghy.
Yeah,
is that what we're doing?
Matter of fact, he fell out of the dinghy and now he's in the sea.
Oh,
Dolphin.
The Dolphin.
Hey, Dolphin's got him.
Plus the Dolphin.
Oh yeah, Dolphin's gonna bonk him with that nose over and over again, and those tiny little dolphins.
Well, then they jump over. Woo!
Right.
But what if he takes out his
in the water
buckling thing?
He's gonna have a cutlass.
No, you got too much resistance in the water. You got too much resistance. There's nothing you can do.
You're gonna fill up.
Money wins the argument. That's exactly right. Dolphins. Yeah, you can't.
That's exactly right.
You're not going to be able to.
That money wins the argument. That's exactly right.
That is exactly right. How's he swinging a cutlass in the sea, sister?
Punch.
You know?
Even if he's got a revolver, you got one shot.
Sure,
you got to pack it with the gunpowder again. That bullet's not going anywhere in the water.
That thing ain't firing in the water.
Dolphin.
It's gunpowder. It's all soaked now.
I'd even say if he's in his dinghy, I would say the Dolphin just flips
bonks him out. I'm with you there, too.
Out of there, and then now you're on my turf. Or not turf.
Interesting. All right. Emma VP, tell us about the Raiders and the Dolphins, won't you?
I will. We have an episode of Khalil or No Deal.
Yeah.
Khalil M., a 26-year-old full-time football man from Oakland, engages in a physical challenge versus JC, a 34-year-old ex-sports broadcaster who just happened to be in the area during the time of this recording. Due to cuts and unrealistic expectations, last year's grand prize of a lovely retreat to Houston, Texas, is being replaced by a long shot at 6th place and an unlikely February journey to frigid Minnesota.
Well, how about that description? Neither of these teams any postseason hopes. Interesting.
Well, I'll tell you, the Dolphins are closer as we sit here in front of Week 9 to the postseason than the Raiders are. Perhaps the biggest disappointment in all the NFL in 2017. Right?
Wow.
Is that right? Who's more disappointing based on?
Well, yeah, they were no doubt
based on what they were supposed to do.
Nobody.
I'm trying to think. I'm
Giants maybe
my head
coming off 11-5.
Yeah, Giants.
One win.
But I don't think the consensus was that the Giants are going to win their division. There are very few people who picked against the Raiders to win the West this year. Dave Dameshek did, though. He took the Los Angeles Chargers.
Still hope.
I think it's going to happen.
Let's go Cowboys.
Trying to curry favor with money.
All right, here we go. Raiders, Dolphins, Matt Money Smith.
Oh, put down your
I got to pick it twice. Cynthia hasn't even picked yet.
She did, too. She picked the Ravens and Titans game. All right, you want to be a gentleman and let Cindy
I'll
do it?
go. It's fine.
No. We'll do it. Here we go. Raiders, Dolphins, Cindy Freeland. Choose.
Raiders.
All right, there you go.
I'm going Raiders, too.
Me too.
Really?
Wait, who threw it?
I just
Hank.
threw it. Did you
Hanson
not
did.
it was
Why?
my quick release. You were like, whoa, where did that go from?
A release like I haven't seen, like Dan Marino. Go ahead and tell us why you're
Dave,
taking
here's
your
why.
favorite
Because
football team.
my model it was not working, so I don't have a model that.
What do you
this.
code with?
I just good times.
Mutton.
Yeah, mutton and good times.
Bangers.
But what I
Bangers
had
and mash.
bangers and mash last night for dinner.
Yeah.
That was good.
What are the bangers again? Wieners?
Yeah, but it's a sausage.
It's a thick casing,
A
right?
thick casing
yeah.
sausage.
I like the bangers.
Yeah.
I do enjoy a good
I
banger.
had it. Is it
I like
spicy?
the name better.
No, it's like it's a brat, but it's a proper thick one rather
It's
than
especially
a
delicious in the
wiener.
AM. I like a
Right.
good bangers and mash in the early AM.
Not the mash in the egg.
You like
yeah,
a-
bangers and egg.
I was
Is that
talking
right?
with
Fried egg, couple fried eggs, and a couple bangers. That's nice.
self-promotion. I go in with Corolla now every day, and
Yeah, you
I'm on the Adam Carolla show for about 10 minutes, and we went into a debate about that, and I was pleasantly surprised by where he came down on this. Polish kielbasa over bratwurst. How say you, handsome Hank?
No.
No.
I'm a determined no.
Right.
No.
Really?
That's a
Now
hard.
Italian sausage.
That's what I had last night. One Italian sausage,
Yeah.
one chorizo one, which was
Ooh,
delicious.
yeah, good
Chorizo is
chorizo.
very good, and a sausage is dynamite.
Yeah.
A linguiça. You ever have a
Also delicious.
Portuguesa linguiça?
Portuguesa?
I don't know if that's right. I
Sounds
decided
good to
do
me.
it. You don't know the difference.
I don't know the difference. You're right.
Of all the encased meats, I feel like the Polish kielbasa at minimum is slept on.
Oh, no, I love a good Polish sausage.
Fine.
I just
It's
would
just not-
prefer a brat.
yeah.
You know what's great? A red hot. Have you ever had a proper red hot? It's a very spicy
Sure.
wiener.
Used to
it's-
be a stadium staple.
I'm
I
I don't
know.
know for what. Jody Marone, I believe it was. Jody Marone Red Hots was like every single stadium you were guaranteed to get the Red Hot, and it's just disappeared. Kids don't like the spicy foods anymore. What the
Cindy,
hell?
your favorite kind of wiener?
I like the Dodger dog. It was very
Oh,
Interesting.
speaking of that, well, that's the one Corolla goes crazy on.
Yeah, he does
tasty.
not
I like
like it.
I had a good Dodger dog.
That's the worst of all. Why is that
They're
a
pretty
famous
good.
thing?
I'd like to point out that the games that I go to, the teams that I root for, tend to win. So I think teams should pay me to go to their games. That's an aside, but Dodger dogs.
Fan for hire.
Yeah.
Dodger
Well,
Dog's good.
got to get a grilled all beef.
Grilled all beef.
Got to do it.
I love the onion wheel. They have some of the best onion wheels at
really do.
Dodger Stadium. It really spits out the onion.
Emma-
All right, I'm sorry.
Loving
Emma.
this.
Emma VP, what do you give? What letter grade do you give the show so far?
I'm going to give it an A. But
Really?
but for duration,
color?
it's about a D.
D minus.
For-
D minus for duration.
Yeah,
Too long.
little long.
Yep.
Too long in your opinion.
But
What
content-wise, great.
favorite kind of encased meat?
I would go with a hot dog.
Simple hot
Really?
dog.
Yeah,
What do you put on it, Emma?
nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's fine. Appreciate that
Why would
sausage
you
if it's
do that?
grilled right and you got a nice steamed bun that gets a
Not
little
even
doughy
onion.
around that dog. Yeah.
You know
Not
what?
even onions.
On this one, I say yeah too, because as I've said before, we live in a free country, and you can put on your wiener whatever
Right.
you want. And if you want to put
Says a
nothing
man who
on it,
judges people for more things than anybody else in this room.
But he also judges people for not judging.
Oh, he's like a little puppy dog look there.
I don't know where that comes from.
Well, Dave, we've already talked about it. It's his own insecurity.
It's weird the way he does it, and I wish. The thing is, I wish
it stings.
You know why it bums me out?
I'm
because
right here.
It makes me feel like where's my honor?
Dave,
it challenges my honor, and why am I not doing more to stop this?
But all
you know what, Dave?
All you need to do is just don't be like Eddie, who's now cowering in the corner because he's been slapped so many times by money.
Again, Hank, I'm
keep
right here.
Keep the steel
Just
in your
right
back.
here.
I mean,
look him in the eye.
You know what,
Dave?
Dave? We're gonna get all your Twitter
you.
followers to make mentions of you and like comment on how great you look.
Wow.
That's how we can.
Oh.
We can have you live in your mentions and be like, "Yo,
Like that,
hottie,
from the top
Sup?
rope.
Sup, girl, or guy."
Spaghetti's over
Sup,
there.
Speaking of from the top rope, Bruno Sammartino is one of the most underrated wrestlers ever.
Poor Spaghetti. You're right.
He
He is
just
crying.
cowering in the corner.
Is that a tear coming down his eye, or
I
is that
think
more
so.
cologne? Either way. Either way. All right,
okay,
Hank,
my model.
What were you telling
sorry,
us about it?
we got into sausages by accident, but my model does not work like that. I just believe that last year Adam Gase cut a couple of starting offensive.
By the way,
linemen in
Handsome, do
about
you
week 4.
model?
What?
Because you're really
You
I see
should.
you on the show.
Just save that for my mentions.
Nice
Sorry, go
figure.
Live in your mentions.
Put that in my mentions. Last year he fired that team up by putting kind of restructuring the offensive line. I'm going to believe that Kenyon Drake is going to have a big game, and that the Dolphins, the Raiders, you're right, haven't been anything special. The Dolphins playing at home on Sunday night. I don't think they played on Sunday night since 1996, which is a long time ago. And I think they're gonna win this game.
Is that right?
I think the
Apparently, which
1-2
is
punch
crazy.
of Damon
I guess I
Williams
haven't
and
been-
Kenyon Drake is an interesting.
Well, that was I was just about to ask you about that, Cindy. For fantasy
Splitsies.
players out there,
splitsies.
you can
I
only
think
have
it's
one. though.
splitsies, but I
Which
think
guy?
that-
But who's the guy? If you're adding somebody, you're not probably adding 2 running backs from the Dolphins.
I think I would put Williams a bit ahead of Drake.
Me too, because of the pass catching, right?
But and also because I legitimately looking at last year, it seems like Gase ran with Damon Williams a bit more than
Well,
he
he
with
did
Kenyon
in the
Drake.
goal line as well. So if you're talking about fantasy points, I think that
Fun to
Williams
say.
will be the guy around the goal.
I actually looked it up last night because it seems to me, anecdotally, even though I have no evidence to support this, it seems to me that when given a choice, NFL head coaches are going to go with the bigger human being. And Damon Williams happens to outweigh Kenyon Drake by about 15 pounds. I think that's the kind of math they do. They say he'll run between the tackles better, right? I don't know. Maybe there's nothing.
Well, I mean, look, the bigger thing is more that they're switching where their O-line's playing. They've been switching 77, where people are playing. So perhaps they'll find something with different combinations or combinations.
Combinations.
At minimum, I predict a surprisingly good game from one. That
You know what? This is
They're
one
not
where
gonna
I have a very close game in this one, and depending on the final injury report, I could flip-flop easily.
Emma VP, do you happen to remember off the top of your head? Oh, no, I have it right here. I wanted to give you the final score to that
22-21,
game.
Oakland. Yep, that's what
Final
I got.
score. Oh, yes, I have the Raiders 30, Dolphins 24. Michael Carter.
Wow, that's a really high-scoring game.
Yeah, well.
Raiders defense.
Raiders defense is bum, and Jay Cutler is ready to roll.
I bet he responded really well to that Adam Gase speech. I see Cutler as being the kind of guy that's like, yeah, coach. Yeah, that's right. Let's go, everybody.
I bet
Let's
he
rally
stood up
now.
and he did one of those things where he didn't extinguish his cigarette. I bet he did one of those flicks.
Oh, it's this one.
And another
on
thing.
his hand.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll.
No, I like
Oh,
to
shit,
imagine
I'm
that he pulled it out of his mouth. He takes a big drag, and he puts it in the finger, and he looks at a Jai, and he goes, "You hear that, bum?" He just flicks it right in, and it bounces off of Jai's chest, and he walks out of the room.
Get out of here. This locker room for winners, baby, and you ain't one. Beat it, Englishman. Do we have,
Sorry, Hank.
as we go out here, Emma VP, do we have the sound of Jay Ajayi when he met with Handsome Hank? Do we have that here? Jay Ajayi and Handsome Hank, obviously both Englishmen.
Why do we have to do this?
Well, because we sat down and we met, and politics is big in the news right now, Handsome. So to capture some of that audience, we decided to see who knows more about America, Handsome or Ajayi.
Okay.
And the question was, who is our first president?
Who was the first president of the United States?
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Is anyone right?
Jay Ajayi is right. Handsome
Was I
Hank
wrong?
is wrong.
Do I get anything for
Who'd
the
you
picture
guess?
of him?
Abraham Lincoln was not the first
Was he
president.
not?
And he wore a top hat.
My picture was good.
That should be a drop that is used regularly on the pod. Abraham Lincoln was not the first president, and he wore a top hat. Just as a standalone, that is such a great line.
That's a good point. Let's make that so, Emma VP. Gangbusters work out of you, as always, Emma VP.
Well done, Emma.
Great descriptions, as always. Great work out of Handsome Hank, Cindy Freeland, and Matt Money Smith. Listen to Free Money, a.k.a. Game Theory and Money.
Best podcast available on the NFL
Most accurate
podcast network.
Had to sneak it in, didn't you, Hank?
I don't know why you would say
Sneaking
that.
it in.
Trying to wrap the week up in a nice way, and then you do that. That's like choosing.
You got to watch Podcast Pick'em too because we do an amazing physical challenge. What are the times?
Yes.
Tell it really quick. Times. You go quick.
NFL Podcast Pick'em coming at you at 10. Wait, it starts.
Don't worry about it.
Wait. I got to say.
Just do it on DVR.
8 a.m. Eastern. And then it's
real
on.
quick. The show's NFL Pick'em. There's no podcast in the title. Just
what
the first
day of the
NFL
week?
Pick'em.
NFL Pick'em presented by Bose. Available 4 times every weekend in the season. It's on at 8 a.m. Eastern.
On Saturday.
It's on at 3 p.m. Eastern Saturday. It's on again at 11 p.m. Eastern Saturday. And then for the early birds or the night owls and both, 6 a.m. Sunday. Dameshek runs the table. Like I was saying, Free Money, a.k.a. Game Theory and Money. Track it down on iTunes, NFL.com/podcasts. Matt Money Smith, Petros and Money, iHeartRadio. Find it. You'll dig it because it's not just all about it. They do movie
not about
showdowns.
sports at all. It's a disaster.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad that we can provide this respite here for you for an hour.
Of all sports.
2 hours.
Of just like hardcore football analysis for those people who require that kind of stuff. To the professor behind the glass, Eddie Spaghetti, Emma VP, everyone else that has been victimized by the mean-spirited words of Matt Money Smith.
Yeah, all of you.
You have my apology.
Right.
Because on some level, I have to own it.
We'll have a word with him.
You idiots didn't mention Nathan's. Best dog around, you boobs. Should have asked me the question.
We have a new drop there. Next week, Thin Slice of Heaven.